let's since we're bringing up gaming, let's get into a little bit of this debate stuff that I've been holding on to. Let's I got to vent a little bit, all right? If everyone will bear with me with a little bit of a vent. I have been increasingly more frustrated lately. You and I spoke about this. I did my best to try to counter this, but you saw it pop up on Twitter. You had to defend yourself numerous times. I had to defend yourself. It is impossible these days for things not to be black and white. Where, yes, Six is generally anti Facebook and you are generally pro Facebook, you have to be put into one of these camps, and it's increasingly frustrating because both of you do not fall into those labels, in my opinion, as much. You, instead of being pro Facebook, I would say you have an amicable relationship with Facebook. You are running a business. You need to work with somebody to make that business work. Doesn't mean you're going to defend them in every decision they make, but you get put into the camp of pro Facebook. Where Six, he's very vocal about his hate for Facebook, but in private, and he talked about the stream too. He's not anti-Facebook. Facebook absolutely burned him. I believe they burned him. He's absolutely had problems with Facebook. But if Facebook rectified their ways, he's not counting them out. He's not anti-Facebook. They're not dead to him. They're dead to him as they currently are, but they could change. And this is very annoying that you get pigeonholed into that. He gets pigeonholed into that. When in reality, there's a lot of room here for that gray area. And I thought that was just very, very annoying. And I appreciate you trying to clarify that a lot. I don't know if you want to expand on that, but I just don't understand why we all have to be so black and white on the issue.
Yeah, I think you put it perfectly. I don't consider I don't label myself as pro Facebook, but I do have a very good relationship with Facebook, and without a doubt, I would not be in the VR business right now, if not for Oculus, and if not for the relationship that we have with them and being on their platform and everything like that. And our interactions with Oculus have all been very positive, and they've been very supportive of us, and it's just a positive relationship. That being said, from if Six's situation happened to me, I'm sure I would feel differently about it, and I certainly don't hold that against him in terms of how he
Oh yeah,
feels.
absolutely. I
But
mean, it's you
yeah,
can't be mad at someone when they have that experience. I mean, he kept saying his truth, and I think that phrase, it's some people applaud when you say your truth. Some people hear your truth and they equate to your opinion. But that is his situation. That is what happened. He did have a product that was, in my mind, very good, but it was something that Oculus was absolutely going to get into. I can't imagine any scenario that Oculus wasn't going to get into fitness. And what happened to him happens to many others, whether it's Google who does it, Apple who does it. I know he hates that comparison, but that is a true situation. But it doesn't make him anti Facebook. It just makes him correct in my mind on what the current situation is, but that situation can change. And yes, it's a little bit of an event, but I think it's important to bring up because what is bad now may be good later. Things change, and I'm just sick of the bullshit, sick of it being black and white. Nothing ever is. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. I mean, I kind of feel like the United States right now, um, unfortunately, is just more polarized on almost every issue, and I do think social media and the internet plays into that, and it's just a lot easier to put somebody into a bucket than it is to kind of try to understand the middle ground. So it happens, and it doesn't really bother me that much, because regardless of what somebody thinks of me, I'm still going to have my gray opinions about different issues. And if Facebook does something good, I'm generally going to like that. And if I think Facebook does something bad, I'm not going to stand for it, or I'm not going to support it. So I think it's really important to recognize that they are not black and white, and that companies are made up of individuals. They're not they're not a company is not a person, right? A company has a lot of different things going on, and just because something bad happened at a company doesn't mean that everybody working there is bad or anything like that. So I think it is like I think we could all, myself definitely included, could just kind of help like spend some time trying to put ourselves in other people's positions and just recognize that like we're all going through something, and that you know the other side's probably not as bad as they may seem at certain times.
Yeah, agreed. And it's very similar to the black and white. I mean, I did appreciate his point. It was a lot of scrolling. You know what I'm talking about. I thought that demonstration was very good when he brought up the Oculus app and what it is tracking. It is quite a bit of information, but that is also a gray area because what privacy means to one person is different than to another. We all value our privacy a little differently. In the perfect world, though, Ryan, what is? It's a weird question here, but what's privacy to you? What is the definition of what you feel comfortable with and what do you not? Because I think I'll give you some time to think on that while I kind of elaborate. I know it's a tough question, but you look at like what I use, whether it's using Google, using Facebook, vehicles that are tracking everything I do, my phone in my pocket. I am not researching any of these companies. A lot of times, I'll go when I need something. I bought a few things yesterday. I go to the store and I bought them because they were very useful. I do have to connect my accounts to them. The Stream Deck I just bought. No, I don't think I don't think there's anything wrong with Elgato, but I have to connect my Facebook account to it. I have to connect my Twitter account. I have to connect all my accounts. I'm not doing any research. What's that mean to privacy for me? Am I okay with it? I'm not, but I also make concessions. And I think everybody makes these concessions. But what is privacy to Ryan? What is the deal breaker here?
Yeah, well, I'll start off by saying I think everybody should be entitled to their own degree of whatever privacy they're comfortable with, and the only way that that's possible is sort of having knowledge of what information is being tracked, which I think we need a lot more transparency there so people can make decisions. I think, what Apple is doing um, is a good thing in letting people opt in or opt yeah, basically opt in and opt out by default to a lot of the tracking that happens. In my scenario, from a pretty early point, I think I kind of mentally um, got comfortable with the idea that anything I share on the internet that is not in a DM, that is not in a email to someone I trust, is public information and could get out there. And with that in mind, I'm basically talking to the world in kind of a restaurant, and there could be someone sitting behind me that hears what I say and do whatever they want with it. So, I think, for me, I kind of operate under the assumption that things that I do on the internet are being tracked because they are. And that, if I don't want them to be tracked, I should, take very conscious precautions. Um, or possibly just not say them or not do them, right? If I'm really worried about, well, if I say this and this other person finds out about it and it's going to hurt their feelings, it's like, well, maybe I don't need to say that in the first place. Um, but generally speaking, think I feel like I kind of recognize the fact that companies like Twitter and Facebook that are free make their money from advertising. And the reason that they can do that is they're very good at taking data about individuals and being able to then sort of bucket those individuals into specific interest groups so that people running ads can target those individuals and show ads to the right people so the ads perform, so they keep paying for ads.
Well, you
And I
made the
feel
point
like
actually during that stream too that Facebook was more or less the relationship you have with them. They are the advertisers of VR because their platform is all visibility. So you being on their platform, they're basically your advertiser because without them, there's no visibility. So that kind of it goes hand in hand.
exactly. I think if you say advertising right now, a lot of people kind of cringe and like, oh yeah, that's like just publicly recognized as a bad thing. But I think there's a other side to that, and I'm pretty conscious of it because for people who have a small business or have gone through a startup and have tried to acquire customers, being able to very specifically target a group of people to run ads for your business or product too is really the only way to survive. I've been at multiple small businesses that have used Facebook and Google and other advertising methods effectively to find an audience and help grow and actually make it as a business. So, I don't personally look at advertising as like the root of all evil. I think that being able to more precisely target people does allow for smaller businesses, like even our business, to grow more effectively, and I think that that can be a very good thing. But I think unfortunately, it can also be used for sort of malicious intent and for targeting people to spread misinformation or targeting people to influence an election, which is has serious consequences. So it's I don't know, it's another one of these sort of gray areas. But at a high level, to your original question, I think I think people should have the right to be able to kind of opt out of a lot of the tracking that is happening by default. But that being said, um, I think people should recognize that, like, when you visit a website, if you're not like using incognito mode, and if you are logged into Facebook, that website probably has a Facebook pixel on it, and that means that Facebook knows that you visited that website. Like, that's just technically possible, and that's not going to change. And you are going to be tracked, and Facebook's going to use that data to more effectively advertise to you. And that's kind of that's probably a truth that you should get fairly comfortable with, because even with precautions that Apple's taking to sort of block a lot of the tracking, these companies are very smart about how they're getting their data. And I don't think we're going to be in a scenario where less data is being tracked anytime soon.
Hit that subscribe button to stay on top of the daily clips, or catch the debates and fireside chats live on the main channel down in the video description. See you next time, Space Cowboys.